Zach, my friend, it is so good to see you again.
Good to be with you, John.
All right, so we've had a lot of fun stuff happen, and I know you and I both have been back on the road and seeing some of America and having a good time and doing our best to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
But as we get to come back together, and it's been a lot of fun. We used to bank probably too many episodes, but there was a time we'd bank like a quarter at a time. And now we're to the point that we usually do one, maybe two or three, but I actually enjoy it. Like, it gives us that intentional time together once a week and hanging out. And but it keeps it fresh, keeps it relevant. So I have a lot of fun with that. So we both been on the road, both getting back after this, and we're talking about something today that is very important because you see both sides of this coin, no matter where you look. But I think that you see people doing this in a negative way more than the right way through especially things with the creation of social media. So today we're going to talk about what it means to promote yourself the right way. And that's important. We joke a lot before these shows. And like, as we're getting into this, like, oh, promote yourself the right way. You're talking about so-and-so, or you're talking about this, and just being silly, but it really is. It does hinge for me a lot with social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, or Instagram, LinkedIn, anything that's out there, promoting yourself in the right way. So I know that you wrote this quite a bit back. You've been able to log some things pretty well. So when you're thinking about promoting yourself the right way, what's going through your mind, Zach?
Yeah, sure. You're right. It is a universal issue, right? So it doesn't matter what the economy looks like, where you are in an organization, where you are in a life stage, you're going to run across people that are promoting themselves the wrong way.
Sure.
And we see that, and we see maybe that they get promoted, or even if you're in school, that they're getting more accepted by friends than you are, and so you want to emulate that. So that's really what this is about. It can be difficult to promote yourself, and there's surely a little bit of art to it.
Yeah. And
sometimes people shy away from that of, I want to promote myself, but I don't really know how without coming across as self-centered or a jerk. So, if you try too hard, you do share yourself as self-centered. You fail to try it all, and you're likely going to be in the same spot that you were 10 years from now. But I think it is possible to promote yourself and your leadership style if you take the right approach to it.
Sure. No, it absolutely is. And I think this is something that you've done a really good job with over the years. I know I've been able to watch you and learn from you in this area. So, something we're passionate about, and we talk about it often on the show, is making sure that we give practical steps of how do we achieve this. So I know that we have 3 steps today, so 3 steps to promote ourselves in the right way. So Zach, what's the first step that we want to follow to promote ourselves correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first step is be authentic. So someone that is inauthentic is easy to spot, or their true behavior eventually comes to light. One of the two. Sometimes you can just say, yeah, that guy is a fake. And eventually, maybe you can't see that on the surface, but eventually their habits come out to see them. So where they have a change in the dynamic of leadership and their true leadership style comes out, then you're like, aha, there it is right there. It may take some time. It may not. But it's usually one of those two. It's either it's very much on the surface, or eventually it comes back to get them. So the ability to show that you care and that you actually mean it is a great way to promote yourself and your leadership style. So be genuine in your interaction with others, be authentic in your communication, and show real interest in other people's conversations. I think being prepared when being authentic is important too. So, the people that are not true to themselves may try to call you out.
Sure.
And this has happened to me over the years, to others, and accuse you of being a fake because they feel threatened by a different leadership style, or just they're not self-confident in the first place.
Sure.
So know that this is either their own insecurity or an attempt to leverage a relationship based on poor emotional intelligence. Or they're downright unethical in their personal leadership, which is what it could be. So hold true to the fact that authenticity will win the day in the end.
Sure. And I would say culturally, just with the generation that's coming up, in order to be a good leader, in order to promote yourself in the right way, whenever you see surveys or whatever it is about millennials or Gen Z, whatever we're going to call people these days, but as these different generations come up, one of the top things that they want in a leader is someone that is authentic.
Sure.
They don't want someone that they think is fake at all. They don't want someone that they think is pulling the wool over their eyes. Like whether it's good, bad, or indifferent times, they just want you to be real. And I've been going through, and I know you know this too, but I've been going through a lot of hard times with a lot of good leaders lately. And one of the things that has saved me as a leader, that has had me towards some of the worst moments of some of these people's lives is them coming back to me and being like, hey, listen, you being authentic and genuine through this is what has helped me grow. And not hiding things, not hiding facts, being real with me, being true to me.
Yeah.
It's that authenticity that builds you that buy-in that allows you to promote yourself.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's something that people look for when they're following a leader.
Sure.
So for example, I saw on social media this week an account that started up. I don't even know that I want to name it correctly because I don't just want to promote it, but basically what it was an account talking about pastors. So if you're a believer or anything like that, that pastor, or even if you're not, in general that pastors are people that, are leaders of a group of fellow believers,
sure,
in their denomination or whatever else. And that usually they're perceived as very high ethics, high morals, hopefully some good humility in there.
Sure.
And so this social media account was basically an account, and all it did was take screenshots from other pastors' social media posts, and it commented and it gave the pricing on the clothes that they were wearing.
Oh, no.
So I saw one. It was like a pastor, and it had like these red basketball shoes.
Yeah.
And then it was a screenshot of the shoes. They went anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000.
Yeah.
Is how much they went for.
Yeah.
And so they were calling out the hypocrisy of that. Now people were coming to their defense and saying, "Hey, they were gifts and everything else."
Sure.
But just as we've said on the show so many times, that perception's reality.
Sure it is.
And perception's reality, and and your authenticity. So if you think you're being authentic and people don't perceive it as authentic, it's not authentic.
Sure.
Or it's not authentic enough, or it's not communicated in the right way.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, you've got to be very authentic and be very mindful of how that authenticity comes across, or how you're communicating it to others. I think it's very important too.
I mean that's huge though. But I mean I know like for you over the years, the reason that you've been able to promote yourself with anything, whether it be training stuff or passing the baton or, growing people in an organization, whatever it may be. The reason you've been able to do that within your team is because from day one, it's been authentic. It's been, look, if I can tell you, I will tell you. Like
Sure.
if I ever tell you it's not my story to tell, like I could get fired for it, but if I can be authentic and genuine and transparent, I'm gonna be. Good,
Yeah.
bad, or indifferent, whether it hurts or whether it doesn't hurt. If you ask me, you ask for it kind of thing, but,
Sure.
but that's how you gain that buy-in is you live that authentic life. And then over generally a pretty short period of time, people get to the point they're like, oh no, listen, I like this guy. I'm willing to do whatever for this guy, because he always shoots me straight. And that's huge. But I think this is something that is lacking. I think leaders have been taught, past leaders have been taught for years, maybe not to run from authenticity, but authenticity leads to friendship and to people liking you. And, you're there to be friendly, not become friends. And,
That's right.
that whole garbage mantra that comes up when you, man, I still hear it from older leaders that'll give me that kind of advice, so they're taught not like to flee from authenticity. And while they're below you, they don't necessarily need to know, kind of attitude, when that's not what you have to do in order to be able to promote yourself as a leader.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
authenticity is key. Number one for a reason on this list. All right. What's next? We want to be authentic. What else?
Sure. Yeah. Put other needs above your own. So
Sure.
It may seem a little bit backwards to give up a sense of self in order to promote yourself, but it works.
Right.
So put people's wants and needs above your own. You need to do that to be successful. So instead of hoarding your talent and requiring credit for what you do,
Sure.
give it away freely to those that need help, especially if they can offer you a large career gain in return. And that's where their people kind of get hung up of, I will help my boss and I will help people that see the spotlight. But if it's somebody below me, beside me, or behind me, No, not really. Not unless I like you, I will. But if not, then what's in it for me? Why am I going to do that? Right. So this strategy adds credibility to others that you are authentic, and that it gives you a chance to share some good knowledge and exchange that with the other person. So this has to be a valuable resource for my own leadership. So a person I help may not be the exact one to help me in my next stage in the career, or, anything else to give me a personal gain, but they teach me something that they do maybe that helps me become a better leader. So maybe it's a different perspective from a different industry. Maybe it's, people growing up later and earlier than you are going through different life experience. So am I gaining perspective that way? Am I hearing their expertise on, I don't know, we dig on me a lot about spreadsheets and things like that. Are they teaching me something technology-wise that can help me there? So it doesn't have to be help me get the next promotion. It can be just an exchange of knowledge, or it can just be, hey, here's this, and you will be pleasantly surprised how often when you have a need, people come out and try to help you at that point too. So,
I mean, I think it goes back to authenticity. It's one thing for a leader to say, oh, look, I'll always put your needs above my own. My team is the most important thing to me. But it's another thing for that leader to get a call on a Friday night and say, hey, I have an emergency in my family, or my kid's sick. I'm not going to be able to come in the whole weekend. And you're on vacation. You're like, don't worry, I got you.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? No, I'm not going to blow up the whole schedule. I got you. Like, I'm coming in, I'm taking care of this. And I mean, that's a real simple example to put out there, but it's one thing to say, oh, I'll be there for you. And it's another to be authentic and show up. So oftentimes leaders will tell people, oh, I love you. I got you. We got this. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And you call them and you're like, man, I got a problem. Like, well, you better get your butt to work.
That's right. That's not my problem.
It's like,
right?
It's like,
not my problem.
Yeah, it's right. It's not my problem. Like, you're making it my problem, and that's going to be your problem. And that's bad leadership, man. That's not authenticity. So authenticity is kind of the vein that is in this for sure. So
sure.
I mean, just kind of maybe an example. You've been doing this a long time, leading people. What's an example that you have seen where somebody has put others' needs above their own that really just spoke to you?
Yeah, I think people that I've traveled the country visiting leaders and helping organizations and things, but sure. I've also worked on project management type stuff too in the past.
Yep.
But people willing to give up their kid's birthday to go help somebody out, give up an anniversary, give up a trip that was important to them. I mean, that's true personal sacrifice to me, because those things are important to me. Family sure. is important to me. I know it's important to you. So when somebody says, hey, I'm willing to forego this, I mean, how many birthdays do you get with somebody?
Right.
Really? I mean, those are valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've seen things like that of just giving up those kind of special moments to help others. And that's a true, to me, a level of sacrifice. I've seen people give up promotions so that other people can get promoted.
Sure.
I mean, there's another great example of what am I going to do if I say that me helping you get to your goal is important, and then I say, no, actually, let me take care of myself first.
Right.
Then there's where my falsehood comes out. So that's where your true test of your word comes out in those situations. So, yeah.
It is. That's all. It goes back to authenticity. It's what it is right there. I love that aspect of this. Okay. We want to be authentic. We want to put others' needs above our own. Take us home. What's our last point, Zach?
Sure. Yeah. So promote yourself through replication. So here we are again. We've been on this kind of run this last month. Yeah, it keeps coming up for sure. So, but it's one thing to say that you added $1 million in revenue from your clients. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about this as if I'm talking to a talent acquisition person or interviewer person, and I go in there and say, hey, I added $1 million in revenue from clients. They'll be like, great. Now, John, you're the one coming in behind me, and you say, you know what? I developed 5 people, and each of them got $1 million in extra revenue from clients. Right. Now, who do you think I'm going to pick there?
Oh, sure. Yeah, exactly.
So invest and develop others that they will become part of your body of work. Mm-hmm. Not that you're using them, but you give them the resource and you let them be successful. And you get to claim part of that because you were part of that process, right? So these people will become great advocates for you in your career journey because now they're saying, okay, you know what? I knew that John had an opportunity to get something else, but he let me have this instead. Mm-hmm. Well, goodness, you can't buy that kind of loyalty.
Exactly.
So that person's going to be a promoter for you for life.
Sure.
Right? So, this approach is another differentiator, but because less mature leaders are trying to build their own personal profile and don't understand the payoff of investing the time in others. I just had a conversation today with a guy. We were talking about building people-focused organizations. And he said, hey, in my industry, I just don't see that. People come in and they say, hey, that's a waste of money. As we start talking about turnover rate, and they're like, yeah, we have people come and go all the time. I'm like, well, it's cheaper if you do it on the front end than you do it on the back end.
That's right.
And so there's a lot of people that just don't understand the investment payoff of investing in others. So, when you replicate your success and standards, make sure that you are investing in the right way. And you don't have blinders onto the person's ability and capability. Because we do that sometimes, right? So if you and I are together a lot, which we have been over the years, and we get really close and I start putting my blinders up because I just think that you just hang the moon, Mr. Long, and you're just great. And yeah, it's true. And I just promote you, and you may have some things you're working on. I just don't see them anymore just because I love you so much. So make sure that you don't have those blinders on for that person, that they are, because they're a reflection of you after all, right? You want them to represent you well.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. I mean, it's definitely huge. And look, I tell people all the time, especially over the last couple of years, that I think this point here, promote yourself through replication, is one of the most important things that I've ever seen. And the reason is, and like my little story with what I do now is I promoted pretty quickly. Now, I had a good upline and you and other people upline that believed in me, but one of the questions I've been asked the most over the last couple of years is, how did you get there so quick? And why you and not me? And yada, 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 yada. And I would tell them all what it comes back down to is just replication. It's going to my first location, and everyone that was around me that had a need for a manager or an assistant manager or some kind of full-timer or some kind of supervisor that came out of my store. And then when I went to my next store, everyone that was around me that needed a manager and assistant, I trained them and they came out of my store. And they were able to see that not only did I do well in the store, but I replicated those around me to do well in other stores. And I was like, okay, well, we just need to keep doing this. So, yeah, I mean, I know you've seen it too, but just firsthand experience. If you want to grow in your company, be authentic, put others' needs above your own, and replicate what you're good at. Whatever it is that you're a pro at, whatever is your expertise. And we're always growing in our expertise. We've talked about that 100 times. But whatever your expertise is, you replicate the heck out of that. And make sure that they can replicate it as well, and keep pushing that on. So that's huge. All right, Zach, man, any last thoughts when you're thinking about promoting yourself the right way?
Yeah, so, making sure that you're building a network of people behind you.
Right.
And beside you that are your advocates. And, you touched on a great point. So if you think of where you work now or people you interact with, you think back to those three things of being authentic, putting others above themselves, and then replicating what they do.
Right.
And that's going to be a very small percentage of people. Mm-hmm. And so this really helps you stand out in a very practical way so that you can promote yourself in the right way. So you're not just beating your chest saying, look at me, mm-hmm. right? You're creating a body of work and a network of people that can help promote you for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do it all the time, right?
That's it. That's it. Yeah, right. If you lead this way, you won't be the one promoting yourself. It'll be everybody else. It'll be every time your boss talks to someone that works for you and like, oh, so how are you growing here? And they're like, oh, it's because of John or it's because of Zach or whoever it may be, because of you listening to this podcast. So it's because of that guy or that girl. If every time they talk to a leader, whether it's below or upline, and they're like, oh, that's because of so-and-so, and you're getting that love every single time, you're not promoting you.
That's right.
Everyone else is doing the work for you,
That's
and
right.
it's awesome, Man, Zach, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining us again.
Absolutely.
I would also like to thank the listener for tuning in with us. Go to the website, passingthebatonpodcast.com. Subscribe to the newsletter. Check us out there. Very important. If you have a question that you would like us to answer on the show, email me, passingthebatonpodcast@gmail.com. I promise you, we will fit it in between some newsletter very quickly somewhere and let you know that we're doing it. Follow us wherever you're at on social media, wherever you listen, rate us 5 stars, and be sure to catch us next time. But until then, invest in yourself to develop others.